Thank you, Melissa. A wave of fires has the Omaha Fire Department concerned about careless smoking. There have been at least 8 fires in the last month, all started by smoking material. And joining us now, Assistant Fire Marshal Jim Gentile. Jim, thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, let's talk about how many people have been displaced by these fires. It's been a huge impact.
Just the third alarm alone was over 50, so I believe around 100 individuals were displaced because of the last 2 weeks. We've had, I think it's up to 9 smoking-related fires.
And none of these were deadly, but at the same time, these fires can be very deadly for some people.
Absolutely. We were very fortunate that we did not have any fire deaths related, because usually in apartment buildings, you have a congregation of a lot of people. And the way they're designed, the attics are open across the top. There's no divisions in there. So what we've been seeing is that people are out smoking on their decks, and they'll use a makeshift ashtray like that flower pot. And it'll get going somehow because of the wind or because it's not out, and it'll get up in the attic and race across the attic, just like it happened at that third alarm fire.
And when so many people are congregated in an apartment complex, you're really having an impact on other people if you're smoking and carelessly leaving it out like that. What can smokers do to protect others, and what can other people do to protect themselves?
Sure. The first thing is you want to think about your own safety and the others around you, up, down, on the sides of you. The first thing you want to do if you do smoke is make sure it's absolutely extinguished. Make sure that you know it's extinguished, whether you have to dip it in water or put it in a steel container with sand in it. But just make sure it's completely extinguished, and that's the best thing that we can do outside of not smoking.
Now, I'm interested about this. Fire-safe cigarettes, is there even such a thing as those?
They claim that they'll extinguish themselves quicker, but there's still a danger to it because you have a little glowing ember. And I think a lot of people's misconception is that little ember, how's it going to become this third alarm fire? Well, it can happen in a matter of minutes, or if it smolders long enough, it'll be an hour where people don't realize it, and then in the middle of the night, it just starts to take off, and that's the bad part of it.
And you guys are putting yourselves at risk to go into these situations that were caused by someone not taking care of what they needed to. That's got to be a little bit frustrating.
Well, that's our job. We're firefighters, and that's what we do. But what we're most concerned about is the safety of the citizens, and we're trying to limit that as much as possible, and prevention is the #1 thing that you can do.
And on that note, prevention, you had mentioned during the commercial break before this that folks really should have their chimneys inspected each and every year if they can.
Absolutely. The other night we had a fire involving a house where the furnace wasn't working, so they overloaded the chimney with wood to keep themselves warm. It happened to be a chimney where brick and mortar, it's an older one, and over the years the heat will force the mortar out. So what happened is when they lit the chimney, or the fireplace, the fire worked its way through the mortar into the wall and started the wall on fire.
And lastly, I want to make sure we get this plug in here. You guys will actually help people get working smoke detectors if they don't have any.
Absolutely, and this house also did not have a working smoke alarm, so if you call 444-3560, Omaha Fire puts them in for free.
444-3560.
Yeah, and I'd also like to mention the police did a wonderful job helping us out with that fire, because there was a number of people trapped, and they were in the vicinity. They came in and they assisted a elderly female in a wheelchair out of that burning home. So, there's a conception out there that all they do is enforce the law, but they help people too.
Well, thank you to you and the police department for everything you do. We certainly appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for having me here.
Assistant Fire Marshal Jim Gentile, thank you for being here today. We will check lottery numbers in a moment.